I'll do like some comments, but it's not gonna be a ton. All right, let's see. How does it look? Where am I? I need to make it big though, so you guys can see. Beautiful morning, get a sign that morning, babe. Nothing in the morning. I love Kanye. We're not listening to this the whole time. Should I even read the intro, bro? How long is this? Be a liberated I just wanna be a liberated I have instigated. Okay, it's short. Sorry. Tell me who in here can relate. Wait, I need to look something up first. What happened to sharing my screen? Beggars can't be choosers, bitches ain't your that part, nigga with an attitude, I feel like, oh shit, that part, walking, living legend, and I feel like, that part, I just left the strip club, got some glitter on me, that part, might be gonna kill me. See, my friend was telling me about this. I don't know how much you could hear. This music's loud, bro. Okay, but there's a lot of occult with him. He's retro. Beautiful morning, getting sun in the morning day. He learned to control the visions. He claimed to communicate with pigeons in New York City. Okay, see, this is weird. This is really weird. Okay, but what does it say about the ability to imagine things? My roommate told me you're supposed to have an IQ of 300. Good morning, babe. Nothing in the morning. The Rosicrucian Digest. I just want to be a liberated eye. Whoa. Okay. No more music. I do have something to say about this. We would be way better at remembering things if we didn't consume so much every day. So, like, you would be able to recite conversations pretty much verbatim, day to day, that happened weeks before, if you didn't have TikTok and Facebook. Because you got to think, like, these people that are consuming content all the time on TikTok and Facebook and these places. Let me open the chat so that I can see. These people that are consuming content all the time on Instagram and Facebook don't retain anything. Like, think about people that you know that have a feed of information, right? New life hack. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. They never retain it. Why? Because your brain isn't designed to intake 40 billion different topics of information on a daily basis, right? Like, you're supposed to be intaking a small amount of stuff and having a lot of time doing nothing so that it could get properly implanted. Because think about this. When you hear information, you're very unlikely to remember it. But when you hear information and spend time digesting it, thinking about it after, you're way more likely to retain it. And yeah, just start taking notes, because even if you're not like a doom scroller, you still are intaking a billion times more information than the average person was. So yeah, this photographic memory stuff, he's definitely special in it, but I'm just saying we would have way better memory. Whoa. See, that is crazy though, is having ideas and being able to manifest them into reality that easily. The fact that you could think of something and then just randomly create it. My roommate was telling me an IQ they estimate of 300. See, that's like Albert Pike type of stuff. But yeah, I don't believe that people get to this level of genius without witchcraft, to be honest.
Powering off.
See, this is literally what I said. Several times he appeared to wish. Should I just read aloud? Several times he appeared to wish to make it plain he believed the soul of man was part of the body. They're separate intellects, though, and that when the body died, the soul died with it. Cap. This is not a Christian belief at all. But did he really believe that which he indicated? Could he, for instance, have pondered slightly his greatest invention, the rotating magnetic field, which makes the alternating current induction motor possible, and see only the science of it? Could he ponder and feel the mechanics of it, only know the physical effects making it possible? Bro, I actually feel dyslexic when I read things aloud. Probably no man has accomplished greater feats in bending to his will the force which we choose to call electricity than did Tesla. But he never learned what that force was. See, this is the thing: is these types of things, electricity and magnetic fields, I believe are highly tied to demonic things. Same thing with the understanding of planets, right? These things are very hard to imagine someone discovering it without some sort of influence whispering in their ear that this is what this is. You know what I'm saying? Um, like that's how I feel about a lot of these kind of secrets of the universe, like the way that things are woven together that we don't really see but exist. It's very hard for me to believe in. Let's go. We got 2 viewers. You know what I'm saying though? Because it's just unbelievable to think that a man came up with all this. And that's how we've uncovered a lot of the secrets of the universe. They come through demonic revelation. Now, does that make the secret evil? Well, you're not a what are they called? Those people that don't use any electronics. I was about to say Mormon. Amish person, right? So clearly you're utilizing this information along with, according to the book of Enoch, farming came through demons, understanding of astrology came through demons, how to build swords and shields came through demons. So can you say that demonic revelation is evil in and of itself? Well, it's content, it's knowledge that doesn't have a will. So you can't really say that's evil. Same thing with technology, right? You can't say technology is evil because there's not a will. It's a static object. Um, where was I? Oh, being afraid of them. Perhaps he hid them behind the door, so to speak, by denying them. Or could it be he felt in his younger days that his scientific position in the world was insecure? Insecure enough so that he must avoid anything which might shake it. Then, in later life, perhaps he did not wish to admit he had been wrong earlier, that he had not been able to work out everything in his mind beforehand. Tesla never got around to writing his memoirs. Thus, we will really never be sure what he really thought. Nor would he allow anyone else to write a biography of his life while he was alive. Oh, what? This is one page? I can't get the rest on this Rosicrucian. Look at this Rosicrucian Digest. um, where does this continue? Tesla died with all of his secrets in his head. He believed he would live to the age of 130 years, perhaps to 150. When he reached 80, he felt he had much time left. Being the thinky man he was, How he could rationalize all the months he'd spent in his bed with serious illnesses, with his reaching the age of even 100 years, is difficult to understand. But again, Nikola Tesla was a strange man. Damn. Um, Listen, this stuff about living long, you can live to 150 today, right? It's not just the Rothschilds that get to do this, but they do it through evil. Like you could do it through good. Like, listen, bro, if God's will for you is for you to be here 150 years, you're gonna be here 150 years. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, people find this like impossible to comprehend. Like, how old was Jacob Rothschild when he died? This is the one that died, isn't it? Yeah, he died. Oh, he's only 87. What? Which one was the really old one? It's the eldest son. Wow, an intelligence officer in World War II. Isn't that interesting? Let's see. Rothschild banking family. And I'm not big on the Rothschild conspiracy. I mean, is it real? Yeah. Like they're very influential, but the fact that that everyone knows that there's this family that has a bunch of money means that they're not actually the ones at the top. You know, like the fact that I say Rothschild and everyone knows this means that it's not true. Because everything that's really true, people are so far from the idea. Okay, whatever. I'm not finding all this. But anyways, yeah, you can live to 150. People in the Bible, bro, Noah lived to 650, didn't he? Right? Like I said, if it's God's will. And yeah, you could have your theories on it, like, oh, it's because their mentalities. They believe that they could keep living, or you could say, also, I'm not looking at chat. Yeah, I'll look every once in a while, but um, you could say that it's because their mentalities, like they felt like they could just keep growing. You could say it's because the collective unconscious, right? The collective unconscious believes humans live to 300 years and they just do it. Or you could say it's because the food that they eat, right? People didn't have GMO foods, so they could live forever. They didn't have a bunch of stuff with cancer in it. Who knows? When he was 12 years old, Tesla learned that deep rhythmical breathing overventilated his lungs, driving out the residual carbon monoxide and stimulating them with hardworking oxygen. What? This changed the chemical balance of his body. It set his brain to producing experiences similar to those known to occult practitioners. I've never heard of this. While there are no records of Tesla doing his deep breathing to the extent of experiencing levitation, levitation and this like mental manipulation of the physical is real, bro. Like everyone thinks it's like cartoon. No, bro, this is real. But yeah, I think it requires like high levels of black magic. Like it's not good. Also, it's just useless. Like why would you want to levitate like that? Like there's literally no point besides like the whoa, I'm levitating. There appear to be records where other workers have been concerned. Everything Tesla did leads us to conclude that he was an original thinker. Original thinker means crazy to the standards of 99% of people. But yeah, crazy changes the world, bro. Crazy is what makes you have articles written about you from the Rosicrucian Digest. Of course, he liked alchemy. Of course, we're gonna get to that though. He was constantly reaching out for new concepts, eager to prove them once they entered his consciousness. If he had happened upon a demonstration unknown to him, he was always alert afterwards for places he might apply it in original ways. Sorry, I know that I titled the stream, we're going to read Phaedo. I don't know how to say this, guys. I don't, like, what language is this even? Sorry, we're going way off topic here. Beautiful morning, get inside that morning bed. Philosophical. Okay, give me the actual meaning. Okay, light. Light and giving. Oh, interesting. See, all this stuff about light really does concern me though, because it makes me think about illumination. Right? What does this have to do with anything? Albert Pike. What did he say on page 329 of Morals and Dogma? He said Lucifer is the light bringer. That's weird. It's a little strange. If he happened upon a demonstration unknown to him, he was always alert afterwards for places he might apply it in original ways. Especially, he was interested in trigger actions, actions by which slight applications of force would develop and release concentrations of force. His first lesson in this came when he was still a boy. He was hiking the mountains of his native Laika, which is now part of Yugoslavia. Rest in peace, Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia had the best police force ever. They're called the militia, and like they were like the least abusive. Okay, sorry. We're actually gonna go to the topic that I titled this about. But yeah, these were like the best um, police force ever. Like the people loved them, as far as I've read at least. Yeah, look at them. They were so interesting though. Like I'll post some pictures. They were like just a bunch of dudes that are like, yeah, I'll help. Look at this. This YouTube channel is great. The police are chasing them. Okay. Now we're actually gonna read the book. The conclusion is that yeah, he was into mysticism and stuff, but I'm into mysticism too, and I'm also a Christian. Just some of this stuff is a little concerning to me. Really, just the fact that he knew this much stuff. Like I always talk about Jack Parsons, how he said that he got to understand the structure of a rocket engine through demonic revelation, which he literally writes about in a billion books. No one talks about it. No one talks about anything about the occult and space, which are like so tied, unbelievably tied together. I feel like I should read this aloud. This is actually going to help me develop the reading aloud skills. Okay, this page is just cut off. Why does it open with this? This is also like an annotated copy. It looks people are like underlining stuff. Bro, I'm gonna mispronounce so many words too. It's gonna be bad because I've never really read Plato. I've read like a little bit, but nothing deep. Like most of the stuff I've read by him was during my political philosophy phase, and a lot of it was like secondhand sources. Says Sippus, who appears in the Euthydemus and the Lysis, is a person of gentle birth and breeding, who displays a certain violence of youth. Love that. Menex, Men, Maniexinus, after whom a Platonic dialogue is called, is a scion of a family dominant in Athenian politics. He regards himself as one necessarily consigned to a political career. Euclidius and Terpsian, who hail from Megara, are enthusiastic exponents of e- elec- eclectic doctrines. Of oh man, bro, it's gonna be like I'm gonna be struggling through this because we're only a paragraph in. Of our Aristippus, many conjectures are entertained and few facts are known. It seems that his experience of life is wide and he is an avowed hedonist. Why did they capitalize the H? Um, a person called Cleombrotus is said to have thrown himself into the sea after reading, whoa, Plato's Phaedo. See, Phaedo just doesn't sound like a correct pronunciation either. Whether the story itself is well founded and whether it concerns Cleombrotus, who appears in this dialogue, are many questions to which no authoritative answer can be given. Of Phaedondus, nothing is known except for his loyalty to Socrates. The other two, Thebans, Cebus, and Simmias, are disciples of the Pythagorean Philolaus. Philolaus. Okay, let's do some breakdown. What is philology? Philology is the study of words, right? Languages and history and stuff. So, what is the Pythagorean Philolaus, no clue. It has to be something with the doctrines of Pythagorean mystic tradition, I would assume, which really is just a breakdown of the spiritual components of the universe, which Pythagoras was right about a lot of this stuff. Like he said, divinity in numbers, which is true. He also apparently used to spit every time he heard it too, which is understandable. In the present dialogue, they are the chief interlocutors of Socrates, and as a consequence, the dramatic argument comes to have a Pythagorean setting. The reader, of course, will not conclude because of this that the doctrines set forth by Socrates are consequently Pythagorean. Indeed, what the contemporary teachings of Pythagoreans are is exceedingly difficult to describe. The cult which traditionally bears this name has spread and separated in varied ways. Very true. Some of its numbers are interested in distinctive religious ordinances. Others seek definition and system in mathematics. A third group, which includes Cebes and Simmias, concern themselves with physical theories. Yet most, if not all, their number remain aware of the two tenets entertained in the original school, namely that the soul transmigrates from body to body, disagree, and that knowledge in this world is the reminiscence of objects earlier concised in an intelligible realm of forms. See, I'm not that familiar with this philosophy of forms, the invisible world of forms and the perfect form. Like, I've never taken a formal philosophy class. Most of the philosophy I knew was, like I said, political philosophy. So I know some about this form stuff. See, what's weird to me though is that a lot of the Neoplatonics are not based. A lot of them are very liberal. Um, and yeah, that's just not something you'd expect. To be fair, Plato was gay, so I guess it makes some sense, but or at least that's what I've heard a lot about. I've also heard that Socrates, Plato, homosexual, platonic homosexuality. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Same-sex lovers were more blessed than ordinary people, and that their mutual love would help them re-enter heaven. Whoa, he's writing to boys. Plato later changed his mind and said homosexuality is utterly unholy and the ugliest of all things. He described homosexual sex as something contrary to nature and similar to incest. This incest thing, there's a bunch of studies on this. A lot of gay dudes are the youngest brother in their family, and it's like there's some weird incest stuff that goes on. Plato's Symposium is a celebrated account of homosexual love, where it's discussed as an or more ideal relationship than heterosexual love. This is true, they beat each other way less often. However, some would say that Plato's dialogue between Socrates and Diotima undermines the idea that homosexuality is a pure form of love than heterosexual love. Listen, this is what I'll say about this. Gay people seem to get along well, not lesbians. They beat each other way more than straight couples. Yo, okay, I gotta chill out a bit. Nothing against lesbians, guys. We're just talking about statistics. Okay, I'll pull up the stats. Gay versus lesbian versus straight abuse. Okay, so this is crazy. This is insane. Okay, so like violence between the lesbians. This is lesbian or gay though. Um, See, we need like see, 26% of gay men are doing this, right? 35% of straight men are beating their wife, and 44% of lesbians, but this is including rape. Um, but then men are more likely to be abusers. um, yeah, nah, but Anyways, sorry. That's not really a understanding of who's better or who likes each other more, but way off topic. Okay, yeah, this is a cult though. Pythagorean's group was a cult. Um, where was I? The list of persons within the dialogue is imposing in its variety. Athenians of many interests and philosophers of several persuasions have been stirred by Socrates' condemnation and approaching execution. Moreover, the preoccupations and doctrines which the author on this occasion brings under review are highly significant. This latter fact requires some emphasis, in that not a few historians are disposed to represent Socrates as a person who, while intelligent and inquisitive, confines his thinking up to the age of 70 and to questions about definition as a simple sort of induction in the realm of ethics. For this view, a reliance upon certain sayings of the Xenophon, no clue what that means, and the slight Aristotelian commentary is widely responsible. This just means Aristotle type. The sources for a knowledge of Socrates' life and teachings were mainly four: A. The characters of Aristophanes, B. The memorabilia and other writings of the Xenophon, C. The dialogues of Plato, and D. The works of Aristotle. The last of these four authors report the last of these four authors reports that Socrates is the originator of definition and induction. Yeah, see, this stuff is why society's crumbling today. Everyone just understood what they meant by words before. There was no like, well, it's subjective. And there is subjectivity to life in the sense that if you think your life is shit, yeah, your life is shit. If you think your life is great, your life is great, right? But there's no subjectivity in right and wrong. And yeah, this is what a lot of those hippies today get wrong. Because they get the subjectivity right that like you think positively, good things are coming. Like your life is gonna be good. But they don't get right that I already made a video on it, so I might as well say it, that sodomy is gonna mess you up spiritually, and that will mess up your mind too. An induction and remarks that the Socratic doctrine of forms is allied to the Pythagorean theory of numbers. I need to look this up. I would assume that this is just about the divinity of numbers, right? Or like that numbers are holding definition. Oh, not the Pythagorean theorem. Things were made, things were or were made of numbers, and that principle of numbers, the odd and the even, are the principles of all things. The odd is limited and the even is unlimited. That's interesting. I've never heard this. Numbers are the fundamental building blocks of reality. Each number possesses a unique vibrational essence and a symbolic meaning, often associated with geometric shapes and musical harmony. Oh, yeah, that's pretty true. Beautiful morning. Aristotle was not born until 15 years after Socrates' death, and he is disposed to choose from the opinions of his predecessors only such as will suit his preoccupations. It's very true for everyone. Confirmation bias is literally shaping half your worldview. Xenophon, who undertakes a defense of Socrates, does not understand his hero. He spent relatively little time with Socrates, and he is away on his military duty during Socrates' last years. Were Socrates as innocuous as Xenophon represents him to be, he would never have drawn, he never could have drawn reflective people about him. What do they mean, reflective people? Oh, like deep thinkers, I would assume. Nor have dominated the mind of Plato, nor indeed have been made the object of persecution by his fellow Athenians. See, what you need to keep in mind with the Roman Empire is that it did not last, right? And that was for a reason. Everything that happens is Ben coming to it. Everything that happens is Ben coming to whatever. Nothing happens without reason. It's in the Bible. Um, and don't get me wrong, there's bad random things that will happen. You get mugged. You weren't like playing too much or you weren't being extra evil to people. Sometimes there's just iniquity in our lives, right? Um, but sometimes it will be the result of your parents' actions and not because they didn't teach you enough. This is you. This is you getting mugged. Like, let's say you're born with depression. Well, you're not really ever born with depression, but you could have the generational curse of depression, right? It's biblical. It's iniquity. It doesn't mean that you can't get over it, but you have that curse as the result of your parents' actions. So it's not that it was coming because of something you did, but it was coming because of something your parents did, right? This world of this is my string theory, bro. This is my string theory. It's like you're just chilling, right? You've been pulling this string without realizing. Like let's say you walk around at night and you're always scared of getting mugged. That fear is just pulling this string closer and closer and closer until eventually the gun is to your head, right? That's my string theory. And actual string theory comes from what, like Einstein? Um, I don't know that much about Einstein, to be honest. Sure, there's some occult stuff involved with him. And I know that I sound so superstitious talking about there's a cult involved with this person, this person, this person. But what you have to understand is that there is a cult involved with all these people, and that's why they're in your history books, right? That's why you learn about them. Um, and it's not that I think, well, listen, everyone interacts with the occult, but not everyone manipulates it purposefully, willingly, right? It's like if you accidentally do black magic, I wouldn't say this person's involved with the occult. I'd say whatever, you ended up in a bad place. But a lot of people accidentally do black magic and don't know. You know, like you're interacting with this stuff whether you know about it or not. In the Phaedo, those who question and listen to Socrates assume that he's familiar with the cosmological and physical theories of the Milesians, Heraclidians, Ea- El, Ele- Eleuclidics, Em- Empedocles, Pythagoreans, and with the writings of medicine on medicine and music. And more significantly, Plato's account of the solution of the major problems raised in the dialogue depends upon the transition within the mind of Socrates from an earlier concern with the physical causation to a later inquiry into the nature of logical cause and essence. Allowing for some dramatic amplification by the author, the Phaedo may be taken as a faithful account of Socrates' concerns and conversation during his last hours on the earth. Certain of those present in prison, including Euclides and Terpsian, were still alive when the piece was written. Plato was absent, but there can be no doubt that he received an accurate report of what went on. So the book is Socrates talking about stuff before he dies. I thought this was a Plato book. I literally looked up Plato book on forums, and this is what came up. The main topic for discussion in the dialogue is the soul's immortality. Real. Very true. This theme is introduced with the observation by Socrates that the philosopher does not fear death with its separation of the soul from the body because during the life he has undergone in okay, I need to look this up. Whoa. Abnegation. Wait, can I just figure this out? Ab means not, like abnormal, like un. Negation is against. So would this be okay, yeah. Of the lusts and confusions which beset the embodied soul and has made see, I don't believe that the soul ever is involved with lusts. or really confusions. I think your soul is very straightforward, and you just don't listen to it that much. It has made his escape to a realm of abiding things beyond the vicissitudes of change and decay. Even as the philosopher is found in wisdom of purification, so will he become death as the final step in the initiation into true being. This is true. This is very true. Your death is actually your initiation into being a real being. And whoa, 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 go back, go back. I thought it was on highlighter. Welcome death. Yeah, this is true. And it's like embedded in your unconscious. Just people don't think about it. It has been taught by the Philolaws, the Pythagorean, by Philolaus the Pythagorean, that persons while inhabiting this world are in ward and should not force the doors of their prison. Yes, don't do astral projection, guys. Do not flee the prison of your body. It's not a good idea. God will, if you're like very faithful, he'll pull you out somewhere and be like, yo, this is heaven. But honestly, I somewhat believe that he pulls your whole body there too. I don't think he's just taking your soul for a little bit. Socrates finds this reasoning difficult to follow, but he thinks that man, in some sense, a chattel of the gods, and therefore should not take his own life. Yep, but await their call in good time. Yes, completely agree. Like, if I had cancer, I don't think I'd do treatment, to be honest. And I know like that's hard for me to say right now because it's like I don't have cancer, and maybe it'd be different. But I really do think like I'm not in a rush to die. But when it's my time, bro. And like if you don't feel like that, I feel like you're failing your life in some sense or another. Like if you don't feel like ready to die today, I'm not saying that you should be ready to die today, but if you're like trying to fight super hard against nature for your death, which cancer, yeah, I know it doesn't really happen in nature. Um, I don't know. I feel like you kind of failed your life. CBs and others of the company are hoping that Socrates will give a reasoned defense for his profession of immortality, the more especially because there is a current belief that the human soul is no more than physical breath, which the death disperses. See, this doesn't make sense because how is the concept of a soul is eternal, right? So it doesn't make sense that the breath would be the same as the soul because this breath is literally physical and the soul is metaphysical, right? That just doesn't make sense. This proof is begun as by the way of analogy. Opposites pass into opposites. True. When a thing becomes hotter, it becomes far. It becomes so from what it is colder. Kabbalion. The colder becomes from the hotter. The greater becomes from the lesser, and the lesser from the greater. Sleeping passes into waking, waking into sleeping. Yep. And by the same token, death comes from life and life from death. Again, a composite thing is more liable to dissolution than one which is incomposite. What is composed of parts may be deemed prone to decomposition. True. But that's the thing is the soul isn't composed of parts, right? Like I almost look at the soul like energy and it can't be created or destroyed, bro. You can never make a soul. Scientists have tried forever. It just doesn't happen. And the homunculus, does the homunculus have a soul? Was the homunculus even really created, or is that just like, was he just tripping? I don't know, bro. I don't know. The homunculus is a weird story. Um, Many objects of this sort are seen to be incessantly in change and vary continuously in appearance. Others, like forms or ideas, symphonium, is that what he wrote? Which belong to the intelligible realm and not the visible, and which are perceived not by sense, but in intellectual understanding, prove to be unvarying, changeless, and indissoluble. See, I think it's like, never mind. Of these two sorts, the body has kinship with the former and the soul with the latter. Yep. Cebes recalls an argument which Socrates is reported to favor. This is to effect that on the presentation of appropriate diagrams to an untutored observer will recognize universal geometric truths. Yep, true. But people just deny these today. People deny these. And I remember I was talking to this crazy girl. I say that she's crazy girl because like she's not good, bro. Let me see. Am I live on YouTube right now? Okay, good. Wow, let's go. I have excellent connection. I was talking to this girl though, and she was telling me, oh, did I have to do that before? She was telling me, she said, the way that you brush your teeth is how you live your life. And I disagreed. I said, no, that's way too small of an activity to say that that's what it is. But she was talking about, what do they call it? Sorry, I'm really tired. Not sleep that good. Ah, man, why can't I think of it? It's the geometric pattern where it's a smaller thing and then it keeps going out and it's the same shape. They're not reflections. They're bro, it's gonna drive me crazy. Why can't I think of this? Geometric pattern. Whoa. Pattern repeats. A tessellation. No. Nope, not a tessellation. No, it's like repeating small scale. Oh, come on, bro. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like a rectangle, and then you zoom out. What are those called? Optical illusions. Whoa. Man, I don't want to look in this anymore. Anyway, she was talking about the way that you brush your teeth is how you live your life. I disagreed. I said the way that you drive is way better an example because I just think that brushing your teeth is way too small. But yeah, that is a universal truth in this world that the small mirrors the large. You know, you put things on a micro scale and it's the exact same as the big scale. You know. I get really scared about setting off the fire alarms in here because technically we're not supposed to have candles. He does not see the ladder, but only. Oh, man, dude, I'm really concerned about this. Is smoking so much. Like this is very worrisome. Yo, someone committed arson at my school on a different building. I feel like I'm making this only smoke more, bro. This is not good. I can't even deprive it of oxygen because it has a spoon inside. I'm gonna go turn off the fan. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom too. kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yo, I'm gonna like pour some water on this. Is it gonna mess up my candle? Because this has been smoking for so long. What is this? Oh, invite guests. I thought someone actually invited me. Sewing. Right? Expand. On a serious note, bro, I gotta stop being so evil to women. Cause like, it's not good, bro. And I know it's gonna come back to me. But damn, bro, it's hard. It's really hard. Like yesterday, this chick was talking to me. She said that she loved me like 10 times. I didn't say a word back. Didn't say anything. Like, that's pure evil. Like, why did I do that? But it's just hard, bro. Because, I mean, I don't mean to get too red pilled. But I don't know, bro. I don't really believe in loving them. Um, because things get bad when you do. Things get real bad when you do. You know? And yeah, it's just tough. Bro, like, I poured the water in my candle and now it's like all weird. Yeah, but like, I don't know, bro. I don't know why I do this stuff. It's honestly so not worth it. Hey, but I didn't talk to them for a while. I did a nice long streak of like chill. Well, I say it's a long streak. It's a long streak for me. Anyways, yo, and on on a similar note, yo, I was on such long no fap, and I would piss out nut. This is crazy to leak, but we're 48 minutes into a stream, so it doesn't matter. I swear, it'd be like weeks, and I would just take a piss sometimes, and just a little bit of nut would come out. And yo, I looked it up. Nothing came up about it. I asked the NoFap subreddit. No one, everyone's like, "Yo, it sounds like you got a UTI." But I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow before my court date, so we're gonna see if they have anything to say about it. But yeah, on the evilness to women, um, yeah, bro, it's difficult not to be evil. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but like, and it's kind of like unconscious to me. Like, I don't think about doing it; I just automatically do it. What I have to consciously think about doing is joking a lot because I'm not naturally a very funny guy, you know. And most of my jokes with them are just acting like a kid, and you're like they hate it, but they love it. Um, yeah, that stuff I think about, but I don't think about like the. See, if you call it manipulation, people think you're like doing some crazy, grandiose narcissism. But like, there's very small levels of manipulation, and yo, every girl is manipulating every man. Hard, hard, bro. And they don't purposely do it, right? Like they're not thinking like, oh, I'm gonna manipulate this guy and ruin his life. But like, if you guys have had a long term girlfriend, yo, she manipulates a lot of stuff, especially the truth, bro. Women manipulate. Um, like a lot of girls when you date them will answer questions honestly that you ask, but they do the kind of half lie where they know that you want a certain, like for example, if I'm like, how many people have you, how many dudes have you kissed? She says four. But when this girl's bisexual and she's kissed 10 women, she's never going to mention that until I press her. Um, there's like a lot of stuff like that. And it's like they don't really do it out of ill intent. But yeah. Okay, back to reading. Insoluble. Cebes recalls an argument in which Socrates, Cebes, I don't know if that's a correct pronunciation, recalls an argument which Socrates is reported to favor. This is to the effect on the presentation of appropriate diagrams to an untutored observer will recognize universal geometric truths. He does not see the latter, but only particular figures inadequately drawn. The inscribed square or triangle is rarely drawn to specification. Its lines are not straight, nor its angles of proper dimensions. Yet, on their presentation to his visual sense, he is enabled to concise such intellectual objects as squareness and triangularity. Since these have not been taught, wait, I need to highlight this actually. Since these have not been taught him, why didn't they add a two? Nor seen by his eye, it may be concluded that his perception of them is really a recollection of things already known. This doctrine, that knowledge is reminiscence, is illustrated by Socrates' instruction of a slave boy in an earlier dialogue of Plato's The Meno. This stuff, already known, a lot of people say it's because reincarnation is collective unconscious. It rests on the hypothesis that while inhabiting an intelligible realm in a previous mode of existence, the soul has been in direct contact with forms. Yep, knew it. On its entry to the present world, the soul is enclosed in a body and consequently rendered subject to the darkness of sense and the disturbance of physical appetite. The physical appetite thing is in the Bible about demons. Demons still have the appetite, but they don't have bodies. They thirst, but they do not have water. They hunger, but they do not have food. Can't eat. It forgets the objects which it had formerly entertained. On the occasion of presentation of particulars, it is reminded of the forms which it has already known through memory, and it recognizes them. See, this is good though because it says recognizes, not like creates or anything like that, because it's unconscious, meaning you smell the smell. Oh, childhood memories, recognize the memories, but they weren't at the top of your mind, right? The last argument is enough for most of the company, but not for Simmias or Cebes. Evidence for the soul's preexistence is not proof of its survival in perpetuity. May it not be, asks Simmias, that the soul puts on successive bodies like a person puts on his garments, and finally one day wears last garment and dies? Or again, adds Simmias, may there not be a soundness in the current hypothesis that the soul is nothing more than a harmony or organization of bodily elements when brought into a certain conjunction constitute an organism? The soul ceased to be when these were decomposed. To use the term harmonia in its musical sense, for it means both conjunction and musical mode. Can a harmony remain after the strings of the lyre are broken? Echecrates disturbs the dismay of the listeners to these queries. Socrates is not perturbed. Never heard that. Perturbed. Oh, Socrates is chilling hearing this. He warns the company against misology. Misanthropy, the hatred of men, and misology, the hatred of ideas, spring from disappointment after the placing of too great confidence in persons and discourses. Great, great term. Never heard it. Few people are bad, few good. Most are morally mediocre. True. If discussion sometimes disappoints, reason is not to blame, but the inexpertness of the argument. True. As for the soundness of the description of the soul in terms of harmony, which Simmias has adduced, a mode of musical harmony is a mode and nothing different. It cannot manifest degrees of better or worse as a determined way of making melody or ordering sounds. In adjustment of physical parts to the making of specific totality suffers the same limitations. But souls vary with respect to degrees of good and evil. If one were to construe the soul's virtue in terms of harmony, as is sometimes done, at the same time were to accept the thesis in question, he would find it necessary to posit a second harmony within the original harmony, and thus doubly to complicate his difficulties. The concept harmony is unfortunate for further reasons. A harmony cannot run counter to the parts of which it is a harmony, but the soul, in its operations, masters the body and frustrates appetites which are occasioned to the body's presence. A description of the soul's nature as a mechanical adjustment among physical parts fails to take under reckoning the soul's possession and use of those innate ideas which Cebes admitted to the satisfaction of Simmias in to an earlier account of knowing. The second difficulty, voiced by Cebes, is not easily met. It raises a major question of causation and presents a problem which Socrates has long considered. When a young man, Socrates, set out with great enthusiasm to investigate nature and find out why things become as they do, this should always be the question: is why? Why? I mean, how takes you to why, right? But this is very important, and it's crazy to me how few people question the why. Like, you're never going to go anywhere if you don't get to understand that. He considers such questions as these: is growth the result of fermentation by heat and cold? Oh. Is blood the element by which we think, or is air or fire or something else air? Is the brain the organ of hearing, sight, and smell? Do memory and opinion come from these? And is knowledge founded on the memory and opinion which thus ensue? In his I say air, that's allegorical. Not, I don't know about actually. In his preoccupation with such inquiries, he not only forgot what he had previously known, but became thoroughly confused by the opinions he had gathered. While in despair, he heard someone reading from a book by Anaxagoras in the statement that the mind is the cause of all things. He now thought his difficulties would be resolved on finding, he hoped, reasons for things being what they are. But to his disappointment, he discovered that Ana, Ana, Anaxagoras, like others before, had completely accounted for the world by activities of air, ether, water, and other absurdities. Yeah, you should look at things like this. And that there is no place left for the mind, he asserted. Well, you need spirit to be an element too. He had asserted to be the explanation of all things. His conclusion was like someone saying that the cause of Socrates being in prison and not on his way to Boeotia is that his bones and muscles do not carry him there. Interesting. Anaxagoras having failed him, Socrates turned to what he ironically called a second best explanation of cause. This, in brief, is to the effect that the reason for a thing's being or becoming what it is due to its participation in forms or ideas. Suppose, for example, that Simmias, who is small, becomes great, or that what is one becomes two. Smallness in the one case does not become greatness, nor oneness in the other become two-ness. The forms, or classes, or predicates, of which smallness, greatness, oneness, and two-ness are examples, never themselves change. True. When what is called change takes place in an object, that which is discerned to change ceases to participate in one form and takes on another. True. Change in a subject is marked by a succession of predicates, but not by the transformation of any predicate into another. An object is seen to move or become when it ceases to participate in one form and afterwards participates in another form. So my outfit in this chair is just a form. Me in the form of this outfit in the form of a chair. Now there are forms which are mere accidents. Simius may remain simius while he increases his stature in passing. Oh, bro, it's like play style. Oh, is it not play style? Okay. That's the entire introduction. Man, I'm gonna stream for like an hour and then I'm going to the gym. It's leg day, baby. I've been hitting legs like twice a week. And yo, it's terrible. It's terrible, bro. I do 11 sets of squats. Super set. Every set with 5 box jumps. Pretty high box jumps too. And yeah, it is brutal. Brutal. But honestly, it gets me big. Like huge difference. Because when you're doing those sets and you just go till you actually feel like you're gonna collapse. Like on that last set of 225, I'm always like almost failing. And yeah, you have to improve doing that. Like there's no way you can't. So Phaedo's the narrator. The characters are Echecrates, Socrates, Apollodorus, Cebes, Crito, and Simmias, the servant of the 11. We're in the prison of Socrates. Were you with Socrates yourself, Phaedo, on that chapter 1 day when he drank the poison in the prison, or did you hear it from the Steph story from someone else? I was there myself, Echecrates. Then, what was it our master said before his death, and how did he die? I should be very glad if you would tell me. None of our citizens go very much to Athens now, and no stranger has come there for a long time who could give us any definite account of these things, except that he drank the poison and died. We could learn nothing beyond that. Then have you not heard about the trial either, and how that went? Yes, we were told of that. We were rather surprised to find that he did not die till so long after the trial. Why was that, Phaedo? It was an accident, Echecrates. The stern of the ship, which the Athenians sent to Delos, happened to have been crowned on the day before the trial. Assume that means it crashed. And what was the ship? It is the ship, as the Athenians say, in which Theseus took the 7 youths and the 7 maidens to Crete and saved Crito and said, Crito, let her be taken home. So some of Crito's servants led her up the way, weeping bitterly and beating her breast. But Socrates sat up in his bed and bent his leg and rubbed it with his hand. While he was rubbing it, it said thus, and while he was rubbing it, said thus, how strange a thing is what men call pleasure. How wonderful is its relation to pain, which seems to be the opposite of it. They will not come to a man together. But if he pursues one and gains it, he is almost forced to take the other also. Facts. This is actually great. I'm highlighting this. He's almost forced to take the other also, as if there were two distinct things unified at one end. And I think, said he, that if Aesop had noticed them, he would have composed a fable around them, about them, to the effect that God had wished to reconcile them when they were quarreling, and that when he could not do that, he joined their ends together. And that therefore, whenever the one comes to a man, the other is sure to follow. See, is this Kabbalion? everything is has to bounce back bipolar. Um, somewhat, somewhat. I really think it's just a natural law of the universe. It goes up, then it goes down, and it goes up, and it goes down, and it goes up, and it goes down. Um, it's like I always say, bro. You don't live. You don't really enjoy things without living. You don't live without loving, and you don't love without suffering. Um, and yeah, with this mentality, you actually max out life experience. Like it's great how much wisdom you get, but yeah, it's terrible. It's so painful. Um, that is just the case with me. There's a pain in my leg caused by the chains, and now it seems pleasure is coming. Is come following the pain. And I also believe that people that live a very happy youth have to have a negative adulthood. Everyone who lives a negative youth has to have a happy adulthood. That's only if they see it through. Like people that like kill themselves or just give up, they don't really get that. Cebes interrupted him and said, "By the by, Socrates, I am glad you reminded me. Several people have been inquiring about your poems, the hymn to Apollo and Aesop's fables, which you have put into meter. And only a day or two ago, Evenus asked me what was your reason for writing poetry on coming here, when you had never written a line before. So if you wish to me to be able to answer him when he asks me again, as I know that he will, tell me what to say." "Then tell him the truth, Cebes," he said. "Say that it was from no wish to pose as a rival to him or to his poems. I knew that it would not be easy to do that. I was only testing the meaning of certain dreams and acquitting my conscience about them, in case they should be bidding me make of this kind of music. The fact is this: the same dream used to come to me in my past life, appearing in different forms at different times." Okay, the other person that read this is also confused, but always saying the same words. "Socrates, work at music and compose it. Formerly, I used to think that the dream was encouraging me and cheering me up in what was already the work of my life, just as the spectators cheer on different runners in a race. I suppose that the dream was encouraging me to create the music at which I was working already, for I thought the philosophy was the highest music, and my life was spent in philosophy. But then, after the trial, when the feast of the god delayed my death, it occurred to me that my dream might possibly be bidding me to create music in the popular sense, and in that case, I thought I ought to do so and not to disobey. I thought that it would be safer to acquit my conscience by creating poetry in obedience to the dream I had before I departed. So first I composed a hymn to the god whose feast it was. Then I turned into fables of Aesop as I knew. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. And had ready to my hand into verse, taking those which came first. For I reflected that a man who means to be a poet has to use fiction and not facts for his poems. Interesting. And I could not invent fiction myself. Also, very true. I remember when I was a kid and I first had that thought, yo, everything I think of, someone already made this. I just have to steal the best things from other people. "Tell even as this, Cebes, and bid him farewell from me, and tell him to follow me as quickly as he can, if he is wise. I, it seems, shall depart today, for that is the will of the Athenians." And Simmias said, "What strange advice to give Evenus. Socrates, I have met him, and from what I have seen of him, I think that he is certainly not all the man to take it, if he can help it." "What?" he said. Is not Evenus a philosopher?" "Yes, I suppose so," replied Simmias. "Then Evenus will wish to die," he said, "and so every man who is worthy of having any part and so will every man who is worthy of having any part in this study." Why is it a study? Dude, I can't tell. Is this guy writing in Greek? Yeah, he is. That's crazy. I don't know who this copy is from, bro. See, I wonder what the original word of this is, though, because There's no way that they're referring to studies at this time. But he will not lay violent hands on himself, for that, they say, is wrong. As he spoke, he put his legs off the bed and onto the ground, and remained sitting thus for the rest of the conversation. Then Cebes said to him, "What do you mean, Socrates, by saying it is wrong for a man to lay violent hands on himself, but that the philosopher will wish to follow the dying man? What, Cebes, have you and Simmias been with Philolaus, Philolaus, and not heard about these things? Nothing is very definite, Socrates. Well, I myself only speak of them from hearsay. Yet there is no reason why I should not tell you what I have heard. Indeed, I am setting out on a journey to another world, to the other world. What could be more fitting for me than to talk about my journey and consider what we imagine to be its nature? How could we better employ the interval between this and sunset? Then what is their reason for saying it is wrong for man to kill himself, Socrates? It is quite true, I have heard Philolaus say, that when he was living in Thebes, that it is not right. And I have heard the same thing from others too, but I never heard anything definite on the subject from any of them. You must be of good cheer, he said. Possibly you will hear something like it. You will hear something someday. I'm highlighting that. See, this is an idea I feel like a very important thing is readiness to die without killing yourself. Because most people that are ready to die do it out of negativity. But yeah, you should be ready to die out of happiness. Perhaps you will be surprised if I say that this law, unlike every other law which mankind is subject, is absolute and without exception. That it is not true that death is better than life only for some persons at some times. And perhaps you will be surprised if I tell you that these men, for whom it would be better to die, may not do themselves a service, but that they must await a benefactor from without. Oh, indeed, said Cebes, laughing quietly in his native dialect. Indeed, said Socrates, so stated that it may seem strange, and yet perhaps a reason may be given for it. The reason which the secret teaching gives. What's the footnote? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Esoteric system of the Pythagoreans. Where was I? Indeed, said Socrates. The reason which the secret teaching gives that man is in a kind of prison, and that he may not set himself free nor escape from it, seems to me rather profound and not easy to fathom. But I do think, Cebes, that it is true that the gods are our guardians, and that we men are a part of their property. Do you not think so? I do, said Cebes. Good thought. Not gods, though. Well then, said he, if one of your possessions were to kill itself, though you had not signified it that you wish it to die, would you not be angry with it? Should you not punish it, if punishment were possible? Facts. Certainly, he replied. Then in this way, perhaps, it is not unreasonable to hold that no man has a right to take his own life, but that he must wait until God sends some necessity upon him, as has now been sent upon me. This is literally what I was saying earlier. This is like exactly what I was saying, talking about the cancer thing. And I said, like, I think if I had cancer, I wouldn't do the treatment because it's just my time, bro. You know, it's like your boss is telling you, hey, your shift's over, bro. Your shift's over. I mean, you could stay if you really want, and you stay. And that's the thing with breaks, too, bro. You could equate this so much to working a job. You can take the break. God's not going to punish you for taking the break, but you're not getting paid. You're already at work. You already have to live, bro. You know? And you get time off. You get a day a week off. That's Sabbath. No work, right? Which, bro, I really struggle with not working one day a week. Like, it's hard for me. Um, But yeah, you really can equate life to working at a job. Like if you guys have ever had to work at a restaurant, like yeah, you could take the break mid shift and you're not gonna get punished, but you're not gonna get paid. And you could do less hours, but you're not gonna get paid as much, you know. But you work so many hours and it starts to be your detriment. Certainly, he replied, that in this way perhaps it is not unreasonable to hold that no man has a right to take his own life, but that he must wait until God sends some necessity upon him, and as has now been sent upon me. Yes, said Cebes, it does seem natural. But were you not just saying? But were you not saying just now that the philosopher will desire to die? Is that not a paradox, Socrates? So true, bro. Everyone that truly evaluates life is suicidal for a bit. Like if you heavy evaluate your life, yeah, bro, times get hard. It's not easy being one of these conscientious types. The philosopher is a very conscientious type, right? Philosopher is like maximum conscientious. And yeah, if you have that archetype, like things go bad sometimes. And also, I feel like if you're like very knowledgeable about the spiritual, you know that the life after this isn't bad. You know, because if you're very, I mean, not everyone, I guess. I guess that a lot of people that are the most knowledgeable about the spiritual hate God. But like, also, it's interesting that they keep referring to God, capital G, when they also talk about gods. So I wonder who they're talking about with this. Is that not a paradox, Socrates? If what we have just been saying, that God is our guardian and we are his property, to be true, it is not reasonable to say that the wise man will be content to depart from this service in which the gods. See, this is what I'm confused about, bro. They literally just said God and they said guardian, singular, and then they go back to gods. Well, apart from the service in which the gods, who are the best of all rulers, rule him, he will hardly think that when he becomes free, he will take a better care of himself than the gods take of him. A fool perhaps might think so, and say that he would do well to run away from his master. He might not consider that he ought to run away from a good master, but that he ought to remain with him as long as possible, and in so his thoughtlessness. And in his thoughtlessness he might run away. But the wise man will surely desire to remain always with the one who is better than himself. Facts. Bro, this is what I noticed. A lot of people don't care about who they're around. A lot of people. Like, people act like it's weird that I don't want to be around people that don't have anything going for them. Bro, they're just friends, bro. They're just friends. Um, just stay around the people that are good. Stay around those that are stronger than you, bro. And you'll become strong. And I feel like I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Like, I feel like I shouldn't rush the friendships either or anything like that, because I think the good people are just gonna come to me. If this be true, Socrates, the reverse of what you said just now seems to follow. The wise man should grieve to die, and the fool should rejoice. I thought Socrates was pleased with Cebes' insistence. He looked at us and said, Cebes is always examining arguments, yet he will not be convinced at once by anything that one says. Yes, Socrates, said Simmias. But I do think that now there's something in what Cebes says. Why should really wise men want to run from their masters, who are better than themselves, and lightly quit their service? And I think Cebes is aiming this argument at you, because you are so ready to leave us, and the gods, who are good rulers, as you yourself admit. You are right, he said. I suppose you mean that I must defend myself against your charge, as if I were in a court of justice. That is our meaning, said Simmias. Well then, he replied, let me try to make a more successful defense to you than I did to the judges at my trial. I should be wrong, Cebes and Simmias, he went on, not to grieve at death. If I did not think I was going to live both with other gods who are good and wise, with men who have died, who are better than the men of this world, if I did not think I was going to live with both other gods. But you must know that I hope that I am going to live among good men, although I'm not quite sure of that. But I am sure, as I can be in such matters, that I am going to live with the gods who are very good masters, and therefore I am not so much grieved at death. I'm confident that. How does this book work? Is there chapters or is it just. I gotta go soon. Or not chapters? Is it just. I'm confident that the dead have some kind of existence, and, as been said of old, an existence that is far better for the good than for the wicked. See, this is what I'm saying, bro. These ideas of eternity and afterlife have been circulating forever, and they've been widely known. And we never had atheists like we do today. Like we had a few, like there was like Nietzsche types, but very few. Well, Socrates, said Simmias, what do you mean to go away and keep this belief to yourself, or will you let us share it with you? It seems to me that we too have an interest in this good, and it will also serve as your defense if you can convince us of what you say. Okay, I will try, he replied. But I think Credo has been wanting to speak to me. Let us first hear what he has to say. Okay, I'm stopping here. Okay. That was honestly mostly just me reading and saying, yes, I agree. Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. See, these guys are pagan, so they believe in multiple gods and stuff. It's interesting that almost every religion mirrors each other, but I guess they can't stray that far from the real one. Else people are gonna be like, "Oh wait, this doesn't make sense." I thought it was talking about in the intro that these people believe in reincarnation, or that the soul. I mean, I guess that there is a sense of reincarnation, right? Because it's like you're gonna go somewhere else with your soul. But they're also talking about the soul being destroyable, um, which is just a weird idea to me. Some of these questions that they run over are really good, like really good. And I could honestly see how this is the basis of most philosophy. And yeah, the whole idea of a realm of I'd never really read on this. Genius. So true. 100%. There is a realm of that exists also in the collective unconscious, right? That aren't spoken of, but are kind of ruling our existence, right? And it's weird because people override them with consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of this platonic thing of like, well, what is it really though? But what is it really? But what really is good and evil? Um, what's interesting is the whole like thing about morals that they said that there's not really great moral people or bad moral people. Everyone's just kind of. I don't fully agree, but I somewhat agree because I will say that the best people still have a lot of evil and the worst people still have a lot of good. But that's still a large spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Um, I will say that the evil in the best people scares me the most. That's really scary. Like that bit of evil in those people. Because those types will go so long without doing anything bad, anything negative, that they snap so hard. And yeah, they get like ruthless. Like they're terrifying. Which the people that are just used to bad, don't get me wrong, their hearts are hardened and stuff. Like they don't really feel anything about it. But yeah, those types are just, they kind of do more mediocre bad activities versus, yeah, like people who try and be good, snap hard. Hard snap. And yeah, it's like really scary to me. Honestly, I didn't really talk about anything in this video. It's really just me reading. The whole thing with Tesla, yeah, he was involved in the occult. I don't see anything too bad. The breathing thing is really weird, though. No carbon monoxide. And he just said he could do manipulation of the world through that. That's weird. That's really weird. I actually like this intro. This is a good overview of Plato. Because I really didn't know that much. The idea of death as the final step into the initiation of true being is so real. Is so real because your soul is actually you. Like 99% of the stuff that you think you care about is really just your physical. It's really just tied to your physical, bro. Your soul doesn't desire like any of this stuff. You just feel like you do. You know? Yeah, that's it though. I'm ending this. I need to go.